Hello, everyone. Good Thursday. I hope you're having a nice time and tuning in on your lunch break. I'm Nick Petraccione, live here in the Pig Trail Nation studios. Going to be talking some Arkansas baseball. We just wrapped up a Dave Van Horn press conference, so we're going to break down kind of what he said going into this series with the Georgia Bulldogs this weekend. I see we got about 30 people, 40 people in here right now. Let me know where you're commenting from, watching from. I always love to see where you guys are, and any questions that you have, make sure to tune them, put them in right in the comments section. And if you're watching this after, hopefully you had some of your questions answered coming into today. So let's just go right into this. First game, I believe that should actually say, tomorrow. So that is not tonight. Let me switch that really fast for you guys. The brilliance of editing. So no, this game is not tonight at 6:30. This will be, let's delete it, tomorrow. Look at this. Easy peasy. Tomorrow at 6:30 is when this game rolls on. Sorry, guys. That will be on SEC Network Plus. Then the second game will be Saturday, 6 o'clock on SEC Network. So that's going to be the nationally televised one. Game 3, Sunday, 2 p.m., back on SEC Network Plus. Now, there is a strong chance we get another doubleheader. There's rain moving in on Sunday, so they could push that Sunday 2 o'clock game all the way to Saturday. Again, another doubleheader. It's like we get these every single week with Arkansas baseball. Brooks, how you doing from Conway? Barry from Jonesboro. Cameron, Springdale at work. Hopefully you're on a little bit of break, Cameron. Thank you for tuning in. Kevin from Jacksonville, Arkansas, thank you for joining us. Leonard from Baton Rouge, enemy territory. Arkansas having a really good time in Baton Rouge last week on the softball team, winning the 2021 regular season championship, defeating LSU. So it was all around a good series. Arkansas baseball winning one as well. Rick from Melbourne, how you doing, Rick? William, back in it from Denton. I appreciate it, William. Good to see you again. One of our top fans. You got that little badge next to your name, so well-deserved, William. Thank you for tuning in again. Steven from Poland? Really, Steve? That is awesome. I don't know how to say that town. Noah Sol in Poland? Oh, that is so cool. Steven, all right, you're the winner so far of all time of farthest person to watch this stream. Thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Poland, Steven. Really appreciate that. Is so cool. Carolyn, thank you for joining us. John, Larry, Carol, everyone, thank you for joining in as we're going to start rolling into this matchup. I have a bunch of notes we just took from that press conference. Dave Van Horn got off of it about noon, and then we kind of prepped this show up. Nova Soul or Sowell. I don't know how to say. That's so cool, Steven. Hopefully I'm saying it right. But let's go through the biggest thing is this pitching rotation, right? Because every week we see something a little different in terms of who's on the mound. Usually Patrick Wicklander, and actually I can cue this up for you really fast, something really nice. Boom, right on the bottom of your screen. Let's get a ticker going. Patrick Wicklander, as you can see, starting game 1 for Arkansas. That's been your set in stone starter on the first day, so no surprise there. Peyton Paulette, game 2 starting. Another no surprise. Those guys have kind of been the 1-2 starters. Game 3, well, it's up in the air again. To be determined, as Dave Van Horn says. We're going to actually hear from him and his thoughts of why that game is always never hammered down. I actually asked him a question in his press conference about that. Sean, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in. You know what I like to do, though, on Thursdays is roll through some trivia. We have about 37 people here for Pig Trail Trivia Thursdays, alliteration with some T's. So before we get into the pitching, I want to see if we have some baseball fans here. Maybe Steven in Poland, you might know the answer to this. Which Razorback holds the record for most home runs in Arkansas history with 57? Hit them from 2004 to 2007. Let's see if anyone in the comments, if you know, punch it right into the comments to see. Barry saying Jeff King. Barry, that's incorrect. But we'll have the answer here in just a little bit. If you're watching after, pause this video and try and figure it out too. If you can't catch this live and you're watching the rerun, we have one more trivia question to do after this that we'll do later in the show. I put this one as a hard difficulty. The second trivia question might be the easiest. Cameron saying series with double headers. Yeah, Cameron, this looks like it could be a doubleheader on Saturday. And what that time would look like, it probably would be that usually standard 1:31 and then a 6 o'clock game. Kevin, how you doing? John, thank you for tuning in from Sherwood. I appreciate that. So, which Razorback holds the record for most home runs in Arkansas history? You're saying Kevin McReynolds. Good guess. I wonder if anyone can find it out. Spell Arkansas. Oh, did I spell it wrong? Oh, I had an error there. Man, I'm doing terrible on my spelling. I ripped this all together really fast. Look at this. We can just quickly edit this. Arkansas. Hopefully my cursor's in the right place. There we go. Good catch, Barry. Appreciate it. Was never the best speller in school. Wilkins, Jonathan says, all right. So here's the answer. 2004 to 2007, this player hit 57 home runs in his career, still stands as the most home runs ever hit by an Arkansas Razorback. The answer, it is actually Danny Hamblin. Danny Hamblin, 57 home runs, remains the highest mark in Arkansas Razorback history with 57 career homers. So that's trivia question number 1. Let's delete it, and then we'll tease you guys trivia question number 2, and we'll get to that later in the show. 2 Arkansas players were taken in the 2020 MLB draft. Can you name one of them? 2 players were taken in the 2020 MLB drafts, 2020, last season. Can you name one of them? So that answer will be revealed a little bit later. Let's get into these pitching matchups for Georgia. Thank you, John. Well, I love making these little trivia questions on Thursdays. Trivia Thursdays is kind of what I'm going to be doing on these days as we're talking about topics here on our daily updates. So let's go into what Dave Van Horn says. Here is his pitching rotation versus Georgia. Wicklander, game 1. Paulette, game 2. Game 3, to be determined. The 2 names that he threw out were Jackson Wiggins and Caleb Bolden. I see some guesses in there right now in the comments for the trivia question from Larry and Brooks. You guys might be right on the button. We'll see the answers in a little bit. So I asked Dave Van Horn, why is this game 3 always to be determined? Is this his preference? Is this just because of double headers? And here's what he had to say. Listen in. Dave Van Horn talking about why game 3 is always to be determined. Third day has always kind of in the last few weeks been to be determined. Is that what you kind of prefer, is to have that kind of open for a decision? Or would you like to hammer down someone to pitch that third day?
Well, I think in our situation this year, it's probably the right thing to do. If I had, another guy that was throwing like those first 2, I would love to plug him in there and just say, hey, here you go, 1, 2, 3, go get him. The rest of you guys are coming out of the pen. But I don't feel like we have that luxury yet to be able to announce all 3. So that's kind of why we feel like that we should just leave it open and take each game one at a time, obviously, and just use whoever we have to try to win the game that day and move on to the next day. We feel like offensively that we score a lot of runs, and you just never know. You'd hate to go out on a Sunday and score 15 runs and you get beat 16-15 because you used guys or saved guys, whatever may happen. You just gotta go and get the game you got to get. We've told our players that let's just try to win the one that's in front of us, and we'll make, but as far as the coaching part of it, we'll make the decision for that third game after the second game when we feel like what's our best option.
So Dave Van Horn there talking about that third pitching rotation. We've seen guys be plugged into it, never really had a starter named, and we're late in the season. So it looks like that could be the normal heading into the end of the year, and maybe even beyond that, where that third spot's just going to be up for grabs, and whoever kind of fits that mold that week will be the starter. Sorry guys, if I'm always looking over here, it just means I'm reading your comments. I know sometimes I watched yesterday's stream where I'm looking all over the place. I have 4 computers in front of me, so there's a lot going on that I look at. So if I'm never always looking at the camera, I'm always reading your comments if my gaze is over this way. I see we have some people tuning in or answering the questions for trivia, so we will get to that in a second. But the one thing about Georgia, and I wrote this down, is that you can see that name on the bottom of your list. Liam Sullivan is going to be their game 1 starter for the Bulldogs. And here's the thing. He's a freshman. This is his first career start. He's a reliever, pitched 19 innings, a 4.74 ERA. When that ticker rolls back around, you can see that he has 15 Ks and 10 walks on the season. So this is a really big test for a freshman to be thrown into late in the year against the #1 team in the nation. You got to be licking your chops a little bit if you're an Arkansas fan. Now, I've never seen Liam Sullivan pitch, so I don't want to talk about his ability, and I don't know his stuff, but obviously Georgia has some confidence in him, and this is a great Georgia team. I mean, let's remember, this is not their first time playing a #1 team in the nation, and this is not their first time where they could potentially beat a #1 team in the nation. They defeated Vandy in a series earlier in the year. Vanderbilt, they took that series from them, and that was a huge shock. I think they won like the first game like 14-2 or something, jumped out of the gates. I remember watching that game being like, oh my goodness, Georgia's just putting the stops on Vanderbilt. So this is a great Georgia team, and Dave Van Horn said the same thing, that yeah, they've had some injuries as of late. One of their best pitchers, his name is Webb. He is usually their game 1 starter, but as a precaution, he had a little bit of an injury, a little tweak after throwing 62 pitches last series. Georgia's holding him back until game 3. So that's why they're pitching a freshman in the first game, as their main starter is going to be held back just a couple more days to get some more rest as a precaution. They've noted in their official release for this game. Benny says, why aren't we on the SEC network more and not on the Plus? Oh, Benny, I ask that question every single week, is why is this Arkansas team not on the national television every week? If you're the #1 team, you deserve that spot, right? But I don't make the rules over on SEC Network. The game 2 on Saturday will be played on SEC Network, and then game 3, Benny, I hate to tell you, it's over on SEC Network Plus. As it stands, we could have a doubleheader on Saturday. So that game 3 on Sunday, because of rain, might be moved in. And if you're Arkansas baseball, something you've really been used to is just throwing together double headers left and right. And I those guys, those kids are tough to withstand every week, 18-inning games. Some have gone beyond that too, some double headers. So yeah, Betty, I think we all feel your pain as we want to watch Diamond Hogs on the national networks, and it's tough to catch it on Plus. But if you can't watch this game tomorrow on SEC Network, well, we'll be showing highlights right there on your local Pig Trail Reports, wherever you are. If you're in Little Rock or Arkansas or Paragould, we'll find you, and we'll have those highlights for you that you can watch. So if you can't catch the game then, make sure to tune in to us on the local news, and we'll show you the highlights from them. So that's the big thing for everyone just tuning in. This is your pitching rotation. Wicklander, Paulette, to be determined, as Jackson Wiggins, Caleb Bolden were the 2 names that stood out to Dave Van Horn. He mentioned Zebulon Vermillion as a possibility, but it looks like Wiggins and Bolden are going to be your 2 top candidates to pitch that game 3, whether that's on Sunday or Saturday night, depending on weather. Now, you look at lineups, and that at least is pretty set in stone, Van Horn said. Those lineups are going to be, Zach Gregory leading off, Robert Moore going to be in the 6 hole. Christian Franklin batted in the 5 hole, hit 10 RBIs, or batted in 10 RBIs last series. So that's what Dave Van Horn was really stressing, was those run production in the middle of the lineup, and they are just sticking to that. I mean, it's been a great move to have more in that 6 hole, and that's kind of where that's going to continue because those runs are coming right from the heart of Arkansas's batting order. And Van Horn said the one thing he hopes to get more of is guys on base early, like a Gregory leadoff guy, and scoring earlier. Just because when they do that in games, that's how they really propel themselves. So big thing is going to be keeping that production in the middle of the lineup and also getting those guys early, those 1-2 guys on base so that they can score earlier. One thing on offense that Dave Van Horn said that Arkansas needs to work on. But honestly, if you're an Arkansas fan, offense is coming pretty good right now, so you can't be too mad about what you've been seeing. Doug saying, I joined late, but what's the update with Nolan's injury and return? Before the season, I thought he'd be on the top rotation. Yeah, so this has been we'll fill you in on the bullet points, Doug, because this is a little bit of a not a novel, but he's just had arm soreness for so long. That's kept him out, and Van Horn and the staff were very careful with Nolan's return. He made his first return this past weekend against LSU. Did not go as I think a lot of people would have hoped and expected, and that same thing goes for Nolan. He tweeted after the game that, you know, it's a little bit of a bumpy road, but he's going to be back and ready to throw. Obviously, did not have his best stuff. I can pull up the box score of that game just to show you how he threw. Give me 1 second to find it. Nolan went 0.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 1 strikeout in 8 at-bats through 23 pitches. So obviously it's not the outing that we all would have wanted, but they're not giving up on Nolan. Dave Van Horn mentioned him a little bit today. That full interview is on our Pig Trail Nation site right now. You can go watch. The link is also on our Facebook to watch the full interview and check that Nolan stuff. But Nolan's fine. His injury is good. He had a lot of arm soreness that took quite a while to kind of get over with, and they just really brought him back slowly. Doug, he's back in the lineup now. Should be a big part of the downhill stretch for Arkansas. So expect him to bounce back. He's still throwing some great stuff, Van Horn said today. So that's someone that's just going to get back into the fold. It's hard missing so much time and going right into the heart of SEC season and trying to throw like that. So Nolan, yes, Doug, but he's good now. Returns good. You'll probably see him this weekend in some capacity in terms of out of the pen. But it looks like, you know, one thing I'll say about Wiggins, and I'll go back to this graphic before we kind of wrap up and do trivia, because I see we have some names thrown out in John, Barry, and everyone throwing out some names, and we'll get to that really fast. Wiggins, kind of the guy Van Horn's leading on for game 3, said it's difficult for a freshman to start late, but you either can or can't do it. This is paraphrasing, not a direct quote. But he said if he can't do it, well, we'll get him out of there pretty quick. So it's tough. I mean, Wiggins it would be a big start in SEC play for him late in the season as a freshman. But those are the times you got to rise to the occasion. So it kind of sounded, and I'm not going to put words in Dave Van Horn's mouth, but it kind of sounds like Wiggins is the front runner to take that game 3 spot on either Saturday night or Sunday, depending. But you can always rely on old Kevin Kopps to get you out of a jam. If your starting pitchers aren't working really well, Kevin Kopps, of course, just one of the most dominant pitchers in all of college baseball. And Dave Van Horn actually mentioned something about Kevin Kopps today being on the radar of professional teams, that you can go listen to that in there. So big thing about pitching. I mean, the lineup's already producing. So I'm going to change this because this was for the first question. You'll notice I have to do these within the template. I'm going to label this one easy. 2 Arkansas players were taken in the 2020 MLB draft. Can you name one of them? I know we had answers late. This is something I like to do on Thursdays, Trivia Thursdays. Can you name one of them? And, you know, pause it here if you're watching after. If this is something you're catching late and you're not here live, if you've watched this after we're all said and done, maybe tonight, make sure to pause it, and we'll give you the answer right now. Larry, Brooks, Barry, John, all getting this one right. Heston Kjerstad and Casey Martin, the 2 Arkansas players drafted in 2020. Heston going in the 1st, and then Casey Martin going in the 3rd round. So that is your trivia answers for Thursday. Going to do these every single Thursday, kind of related on what we're talking about, and hopefully we can all kind of learn something about Arkansas sports. Let's erase these. Throw up the first one if you missed it. Which Arkansas Razorback holds the most home runs in Arkansas history? We did this one a little earlier today too in this stream. The answer, Danny Hamblin in 04 to 07. So pretty cool. You know, Arkansas is leading home runs in the nation right now with more than 70. Not many teams can touch them. Again, we'll have this game. Oh, let me cue this up before we head out. We're about 20 minutes into the stream. Charles, how are you doing? Thank you for tuning in just late. Hey, Charles, we're about to wrap this up, but if you missed stuff and you want to come see all of what we just talked about, this is going to be saved right on our Facebook. So you can tune in and kind of scroll through all the parts of what we just hit, because we're about wrapping up this game tomorrow. And we're going to be on tomorrow talking about this game. Probably with Mike Irwin, just breaking it down, who has more insight on baseball, Arkansas baseball, than Mike Irwin. So we'll probably grab him and chat with him about a series preview. And now, you know what I'm going to do? I think tonight I'm scheduled to chat with Felipe Franks this afternoon in a few hours. And I'm thinking like tonight we might do another one of these. Felipe Franks obviously drafted to the Falcons. Or not drafted, excuse me, picked up as an undrafted free agent to the Falcons, joining the likes of Matt Ryan over in Atlanta, where I'm going to queue him up on a Zoom call in a few hours. And then, you know what? I think after that, maybe tonight, we'll be back on here again to do something with Felipe. Maybe just get you guys kind of what he said and bring you kind of what we talk about in our interview. So look out for that. That would be probably around 7. What I'm thinking, he won't be live. We'll do an interview with him, but we're scheduled to chat, and I think that would just be great because we're so busy the next few days. We're not going to have too much time to do that with baseball and then a doubleheader on Saturday. So I want you guys to hear from Felipe, and I'm sure he's excited to be able to talk to some Hog fans and tell you how he's doing in Atlanta, trying to make that roster with the Falcons. So that's going to wrap this up for our baseball kind of Dave Van Horn reaction. That full interview, if you want to watch all of what Dave Van Horn said on Georgia, you can go right now to Pig Trail Nation. His full 15-minute press conference is up right now. Congratulations to softball. I know we had a guy listening in from Baton Rouge. They won against LSU. They clinched the SEC regular season title for 2021, the first time in program history. They got the SEC tournament coming up here next Friday. The 13th is when they're going to start. You know, now just saying that's kind of a hard day for teams to play a big game, right? Friday the 13th. But if you're as skilled as Arkansas, maybe bad luck's not even going to matter because that team can just flat out play. So big thing for them. Dave Van Horn mentioned that a huge congratulations to Courtney Deifel and the softball team. Says that team should win SEC Team of the Year, and Deifel should win SEC Coach of the Year. He's watched a bunch of games, has been really supportive of the softball teams. Says what a turnaround that program has had in just such a short span, becoming one of the top teams in the nation's SEC champs. Obviously, we got College World Series to think about in Oklahoma City. That's not something that the softball team's used to being able to compete for. So that is something that's going to be huge. But SEC tournament coming up on Friday. Guys, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're tuning in after, thank you so much for sticking around for the full time and listening in. And we will see you guys likely tonight. I'll tweet it. We'll put it on Pig Trail Nation, our social medias if we are doing it tonight. But look out, probably about 7, we'll talk with Falcon Felipe Franks. Everyone, enjoy your afternoon, the rest of your workday. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching this Pig Trail Nation report.